Hey everybody, welcome back to Tales of Praxis. I'm Aaron Suduko, the founder of With a Terrible Fate. We had a week off because of PAX East, which was a whirlwind, as it always is. It was such a pleasure to be there. The community that PAX brings together is such a cool network of gamers of really all kinds, and I was really honored to represent With a Terrible Fate with a lecture about the storytelling of Xenoblade Chronicles. But boy oh boy, I have to tell you, keeping those 600 hours of story in my head at the same time that we were doing this, and at the same time then working through other Tales games as part of this Tales of Praxis study, was a lot to manage at one time. I basically jumped from working through this with you to going back to the entire Xenoblade Chronicles series to put together that lecture on it, and on the plane out to PAX East to give the lecture, I was busy buried in my 3DS to work on Tales of the Abyss and remind myself of that lore, even though I just played it a couple months ago, because there are just so many wonderful details in these JRPGs to keep them all in your working memory for any amount of time. All which to say, I'm excited to be diving back into this with you with a more singular focus on this as our working lore for the moment, or for my focus on it, at least. So we're going to try to pull all those details back and remember what we were doing. You might recall, if you've been watching the stream, that we've been working through our journey through Tatheala. Hey, good to see you again. Yeah, I was just saying, PAX was great. It's awesome to have that community of gamers. But honestly, I'm excited to have Tales of Symphonia and the Tales series now as my singular focus in terms of the game whose lore I have to keep going in my working memory, because managing this while also managing all of the plot details and nuances of the entire Xenoblade Chronicles series was a lot. And I was just about to even refresh myself on where we were. Actually, since you were watching the YouTube VODs, you probably have a better recollection than I do, but to my recollection, we did a lot of saving of girls last time in various varieties. We had, prior to this, saved Presea by making a key crest for her X-Sphere, which had messed her up in all sorts of developmental ways. And then she wanted to redeem herself by helping to save Colette, whom she helped Rodyle to capture. So we got the Riards back to save her. We found out there's some sense in which she's a worthless and sinful chosen. And we were able to keep going, making some pacts with some summon spirits and redeem Sheena, because we learned all about her history with failing to make a pact with Volt and causing a lot of people in her village to die. And we learned the very interesting thing from Undini and Volt, that if we're able to make pacts with the spirits of different worlds and awaken them both at the same time, then we can start to sever the mana flow between the worlds and make them more independent of each other, whatever that means. But it seems like it would at least be putatively good, since they wouldn't be vying for a single source of well-being. And we met the wacky summon spirit, who is Gnome, and made a pact with him. And we were going to go to the region where Flanor is, the icy continent, whose name escapes me, in search of Celsius at, I want to say, Regal Suggestion. Man, how's that for a working memory? And I didn't even have to look at my crib notes. But I'll be more engaged with it from now on, and hopefully have an easier time, since I don't have to also remember names like Shulk and Yaldabaoth and Mobius and all those many wonderful details of Xenoblade Chronicles.
This is gonna be cake.
It's nuts though. We talk about replay value of games, right, and how it can really be worthwhile to engage in a game from your childhood again with a new lens, much like I'm doing now with Tales of Symphonia. And there are a lot of good and smart reasons for that, I think. But the logistical reason I've been thinking much more about just in the last week is the simple fact that because there are so many details in these games and so many plot events, it's almost impossible to keep track of them all for any extended period of time. Like, I'll tell you, even having just spent like months and months and months with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and played it pretty recently and worked through its story many times, I can tell you, like, if I were to go back and start playing it again right now, right, I promise you I would notice new things, new scenes would sit with me, because games are interactive and you bring different things to the table each time. And also, just with the JRPG, the plot is so long, it's almost just not humanly feasible, I think, to really retain it all and hold it in your mind, even during one playthrough, let alone after the playthrough. So you really get the experience of kind of, like going through life with these characters, in the sense that, if they were going on a journey this long, they probably wouldn't remember all the details either, which gives it a really interesting lived experience, I think, but then of course makes it all the more daunting to do something like write an analysis of it if you really are trying to be comprehensive with regard to the game's overall story. That's why I also mentioned at the top of this broadcast, on the flight out to PAX East, I was diving back into Tales of the Abyss, and literally I played that probably like a month and a half ago, but already between going back to and thinking about Xenoblade and working through Tales of Symphonia, it's like, man, the details of the ins and outs of the plot, it's easy for them to get muddled in your head. And I think in a good JRPG, right, if the story is going to be that long, it almost accommodates that as part of the experience. Like, I think if you're really treating it as a journey these characters are going on and trying to uncover and change the structure of the world, there's a sense in which it wouldn't be compelling if it were a short or simple thing where there were sufficiently few pieces that you could keep the overall image of what was going on in your head at once. It's much more of just letting it wash over you through experience, to the point that you're able to kind of intuit where the story is going and what outcome makes sense, even if you're not ready to point back chapter and verse to, I know that this is going to happen with Colette next because in this scene from like 20 hours ago when they were at, Lewin together, she said this thing to Lloyd or something like that, right? That's just as infeasible in real life as in this kind of storytelling. The moral of that skit, by the way, was don't make Presea angry. Girl who's just getting in touch with her emotions, literally, for the first time. Got a lot of stuff pent up. Alright, and we need to remember this time to go to a town before we go to the next dungeon so we can actually restock on items. Alright, I'm already forgetting how to call the Riards, speaking of having spent too much time away from this game. There we go. Alright, circle. We're gonna relearn it together. It's gonna be great. Oh, that's right. We also hung out in the floating village, whose name I'm forgetting, where all the half-elves in Tetheala, well, not all of them, but those who could get away and live a life of their own, have exiled themselves away from the society that persecutes them. Ah, yes, and we got the wonderful skit-based subplot of Zelos being a book-learning genius. Except when it comes to chemistry. The stream is obviously a work in progress, but I am hoping that at least my audio quality is better than average at this point, because as of a couple streams ago, I was able to get my the mic I use for podcasting working, and I figured I might as well go all the way and get a boom to try to make it actually in a position, literally speaking, to put its quality to use. I was actually thinking, at least in the audio testing I was doing, that my voice sounds better than the game's audio based on when it was developed, so hopefully that's your experience too. But I'm always open to suggestions. Lots of memories of the snowy city, I'll tell you. And it just snowed last night here in Colorado, so it's on brand. Hey, that's what I like to hear. Yeah, what I say on Twitter, it doesn't sound like I'm talking into a tin can anymore. On the one hand, it's nice that the PS5 makes it so easy to just stream on it right out of the box, but on the other hand, you shouldn't feel picking up a PS5 that its mic is really sufficient for streaming out of the box. Probably in a perfect world, I need a camera that's more suited to it too, and a capture card and all that stuff, but like I said, one step at a time, and in terms of the the impact of quality on a stream. I know for me personally, audio quality makes a huge difference, so that's kind of why I felt like it would make sense to start there. Oh, this is, yes! I think this might be the start of one of my favorite side quests and a great trope in the Tales series. Yes, it is! Abyssion, my man. Alright, so those of you who watched the stream, if you remembered, I was excited to try to find an item in the forest, whose name I'm forgetting, on the way to, was that Garachia Forest. Wow, how about me pulling that out of my head? But the item I was talking about in the suspicious-looking chest that we literally couldn't open because it was too evil was one of the Devil's Arms. Now that we have the key, we should be able to go back and get that. Presea, I'm a little worried about you. This is one of those cool things in a JRPG series like the Tales series, or you get it a bit in Final Fantasy too, where all the entries are, or most of the entries are in unrelated worlds with different stories and characters. You get these tropes that come up and are all kind of same in terms of how they function in the storytelling in different worlds, but the particulars of how they're woven into the lore is very different. And the Devil Arms are a great example of that in these Tales games. You get the idea of this character Nebulem and these different arms that have this weird curse on them, and ultimately if you collect them all and do something to them, give the party special abilities, but the particulars of who Nebulem is and how the arms get their power is radically different in different games. Like you get this whole lore of the demon hunters and this demon in Tales of Symphonia. In Tales of the Abyss, it's a very different story with Nebulem being this professor or teacher who had a big impact on the lives of Jade, one of the party members, and his like childhood friend turned nemesis, Dist, and Nebulem dies, and Jade basically does a very botched job of trying to revive her, which is where the similar kind of demonic monstrosity comes from. But when you have those sorts of tropes as like a common storytelling language, it makes it easier, I think, for people to get really invested in the storytelling of the overall series and not just want to play a single game, but actually see how they relate to each other in terms of like creating a broader narrative universe, as you would get if you played through all the Final Fantasies, or like I'm trying to do, going back to not just one Tales game, but kind of as many as I can stomach. Why would you offer customization if you're not doing it yet? That's the real question. I want to make sure we have enough money for items too, since we are running very low on basically everything. Bub. You have the gall to call Sheena Bub? Oh, thank you. I'm glad that resonated with you. You might recall I cribbed it shamelessly from Dan because he's been thinking about that a lot in the last couple of years. But I do think there's something special about that kind of anti-cynicism, especially in a JRPG where there are so many plots afoot and the storyline is itself so convoluted that it's very easy to distrust simply because of all the elements we've been talking about in terms of just not being able to keep the whole plot in our head and not really knowing where other people stand in terms of their intentions, right? And so I think they're special about when you ask the question, what unites or brings together all of the members of a JRPG story, if the answer is simply they just trust each other and are willing to support each other, there's something kind of heartwarming but really also earned and I think more nuanced than you would expect about that. You don't get that in every JRPG, but Tales of Symphonia is definitely showing itself as a paragon case. Okay. Remember to get Anguinist quills when we get to the ice caves. So that's going to be important for something going on. Yeah, I like that. I've got to see if I can pull up the chat on my phone, because some of your messages get cut off sometimes, which I don't like. Good, okay, now I can see the chat, so hopefully that won't happen. But yes, if I got where you were going with that idea of community, that was something that actually I felt even with the community at PAX. This is not the item shop. Like you say, when a nerd community comes together and they're really just united by like their love and belief in these games and the capacity of these games to, you know, empower or teach you things or whatever you want, there is sort of a special just trust and mutual support that I think comes out of having that kind of lingua franca that you don't get in a lot of other communities. It's like, yeah, in one sense it's a special interest group, but in another sense it's a group that is really united by just a certain mode of engagement with the world, and the experiences you have with video games are so apt to then be applied to not just how you want to engage the world, but the kinds of group communities that you want to bring about and participate in, which is pretty cool. Okay, but the real question is... Oh, you also love Zelos. Yeah, I guess there's a lesson in him, too. I don't know that I would go to bat in terms of defense of Zelos' character. I would go to bat in defense of him being interesting, but that's, you know, it's a JRPG, so wait like 10 or 15 hours and then I'll be vindicated in that assessment of Zelos. This your item shop? No, this is a doctor, because people can't stay warm. This is hilarious. Okay, maybe it's on the second floor of the inn? It's gonna be my last guess. And then we're just gonna go to a different item shop at this point, a different town. Alright. We're going on a field trip before we go to Celsius. So I can't find the damn items in this town of Flanor. What? JRPGs are easy. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, what about... Show me Mizuho item shop. See, I planned this whole thing because I knew there was going to be a side scene here. Well, we've talked about muscle memory so much on this stream. Maybe my body did know, even if my brain forgot. Here we go. All I want are some gels. Is that so much to ask? Okay, we need to make sure we can get life bottles as well, though. Okay, now I feel like we can responsibly take on another dungeon. Right after we go to the well. Account book. Thanks so much, Sheena. If there were more than 5 people in this town, my boss would have fired me. But there's not, Sheena, because, you know, you remember that thing you did that killed, like, a quarter of the town's population? That's why. Alright, fine. So he doesn't have a boss, but he has a secretary. For the purposes of this pun. You gotta appreciate the thoughtful way of using font to make dad jokes. That's not something one would expect from a JRPG. Ooh! Regal, the ultimate dad jokester. Because he's the ultimate father figure. Trying to think of another secret pun. See, I'm not an actual dad, so my puns are not sufficiently on demand. I was trying to do something with secretion, but that's A, that's a gross word, and B, the phonemes don't quite work. Okay. Back to the icy continent. You're as cold as ice. I think we want this place that suspiciously looks like a dungeon. Celsius? Are you there? What's the name of this continent? You should tell me. No? I thought it was going to say the location. Hello? There we go. Temple of Ice. This is maybe just an idle pedantic concern, but it is kind of interesting to me, like, if you're thinking about the way we engage with these fictions and what it is when these parties are going around on the map, right? Because you see that sequence of, like, going around on the world map and finding the Temple of Ice, and then we see before we've even gotten in there that it's designated on the world map as the Temple of Ice. So, like, how are we supposed to suppose that the characters know that if it's their first time going there, right? I guess maybe in this case, because Regal was the one who seemed to have a sense that Celsius was in this region, maybe the most proximate explanation is just the idea that, like, he knew, and therefore, like, the party by extension knows, even though most of them are going there for the first time. I think there are a lot of games in which if you're going on the world map on the first time, and even I think something like Tales of the Abyss, right? Like other Tales games, like the name will just be denoted by a series of question marks before you go there, because you don't have any reason to know what it is. Devs do realize that those things make it watch how you navigate the stage.
Trying to get my way. Ready? This first aid.
Jesus, why is your sword so strong?
This takes concentration, you know.
Sheena has an ice card right now. Yeah, that is not ideal, actually. Let's see, the fire card is weaker, but I think it does give her fire attribute attacks. So let's see if that trade-off is oh, okay. Like, is it just not balanced right, the audio? Like, I can have too soft in comparison to the battle effects?
Ready for this?
Do not think ill of us.
Okay, this was the enemy I was trying to go after. Okay, yeah, maybe there's a way to rebalance that in the game settings. I'll check that after this.
Ready for this?
Here, be careful. Resolute and power. Beast.
Ready for this? First aid.
Annoying.
Sonic fierce.
Upon the hammer of godly lightning, melt. I summon thee. Come, bolt. That was great.
Alright, getting some of those quills. No, hey, I appreciate the feedback. There's literally no other way that I would know that. Let me see how much control I have over the music levels here. Looks like not much. I'll try talking less during battle, and if that doesn't work, I will just speak more loudly directly into the mic. And we'll see how that goes. Alright, new power for the Sorcerer's Ring. Truly, there are three things you can do with the ring in Tales of the Abyss, so I completely forgot how multi-potentiate it is in Symphonia. Enthusiastic shouting, that's what I'm known for. My touchstone for what I consider an enthusiastic shout is one of my very favorite voice actors is Jameson Price, and he has this great line reading in Nier Gestalt, because he plays the protagonist in that. And speaking of just ruthless anti-cynicism, early on when he meets one of the women who will become a party member, and she's a misanthrope and an outcast, and she doesn't have any friends, and she's like trying to understand how she's come to bond with this guy, and he just very aggressively says, "You and I are friends now." It's such a vibe, that line, and that ethos.
Are you all ready? Beast!
Ready for this? First aid.
Affliction!
Ready for this? First aid.
Punish! Power! Beast!
Man, I'm noticing I'm getting some more viewers, and I'm hoping you didn't, show up after watching me at PAX and just assume I was great at video games because I talk a lot about video games. Because if so, you probably missed the spiel that I love games, but I'm not the most technically proficient, and so I apologize in advance if you came expecting killer combat. Although if you know what I'm about and thinking about the storytelling of games, I guess that wouldn't be your number one expectation. Or I'd hope it wouldn't be, at least, let's put it that way. Ice, ice, baby. Okay, so we clocked the location of the Celsius tier. We need the gloves, though. And we only have one of the quills, so we need 2 more. It is a little silly to me that even though we thought we fought 4 of those penguin guys, we got 1 quill. Ah, but another penguin guy. That was my enthusiastic shouting, if that wasn't clear. I hope it helps a little bit.
Don't think ill of us. We had no choice.
See, now I'm reaching this point where I feel like I've spent time playing as Sheena, and part of me feels like, oh, it'd be fun to try something like playing as Regal, but having just started to get facility with Sheena's tech, it feels intimidating and disappointing to start back with another character and learning their whole moveset, because they do play very differently in terms of how they interact with enemies and combo them. Let's get another clue.
Do not think ill of us.
Okay, we got 2 more. Now we can get those gloves. In fact, let's just go back and do that before we dive further into Ice World. Why would you walk when you can fly the very short distance? The beauty of a set of private jets. Awesome. Now we can get that beautiful yet frigid flower. There we go.
You're in drill.
overwhelmingly rude to me when monsters interrupt a party member's walk-up line when they first start the battle. Though it does add a sense of realism to fighting giant spiders made of spiky ice.
Evil doesn't stand a chance.
Alright, we should definitely have a counter on the stream for number of times Aaron forgets to change the power of the Sorcerer's Ring when he has to leave and then re-enter a dungeon. Oh my god. Okay, there we go. Let's try it again. See, and this is interesting because I was talking about the sprites they use to represent monsters on maps, right? And even though the ones in the world maps are those just blobby, nondescript monsters, these actually do give you information about the monsters you're going to fight. Like you fight that penguinus-looking guy, and it's at least one penguinus. Which I guess they need in a practical sense here, whereas you wouldn't necessarily on the world map, just because you have to fight those penguinists in order to get the kills.
You're gonna be kidding me! It's over.
That's what you want to see.
I don't care. Ready for this? Trying to get in my way. Ready for this? First aid. Here. Heal.
No way.
Ready for this? First aid.
Thank you. Power seal.
This takes concentration, you know.
Power seal.
Ready for this? First aid. I have to.
Serpent
Ready
power
for this?
seal. Pinion.
First
Fire.
aid. I have to.
Thank you. Power. How do you like that?
First aid.
Yo dog, I heard you like card games!
Spirit seal.
Yeah, I'll say this too. This has nothing to do with video games, but coming back from PAX, one of my favorite things, because I'm also a huge card game nerd, well, not as huge as I am a video game nerd, but I love card games, especially Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering, and seeing the vendors there who sell all sorts of like singles and different old card sets is always one of my favorite parts. So I got more than a few nice card pickups to commemorate the occasion. There we go. The cool thing is, apparently, everything we know and love from Japan is turning 25 this year, because Dan just did this episode of his Pokemon podcast about
You guys stalking me?
how we had 25 years of Ash and Pikachu, and Ash was just retired from the anime, which is amazing to think about. And then, in a similar vein, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is having its 25-year anniversary this year, so they just released this very cool set that is basically designed as fan service to the original fans, all around the Gate Guardian monster and now archetype that was part of the original Duel's Kingdom arc. And oh man, I got like a box of that new set, and opening those cards was like they've made new versions of the old cards to basically keep them competitive or semi-competitive in the modern meta. And it was really like the nice kind of fusion of old and new that I think you hope for those sorts of stories as you age and revisit them, where it called back these vivid memories I had of, you know, watching the show as a kid and playing the card game, but also bringing it into the more modern context of my my relationship with games as an adult. And the fact that those series are really just a few years younger than me is a kind of existentially terrifying thing in and of itself. Not sure what to do with that, but it is certainly a noteworthy fact. I guess in a heartwarming vein, it's nice to feel as though you can grow up with your favorite series, and if those storytellers are fortunate enough to have success, because it's an interactive medium of one form or another, you're actually able to sort of grow with it, and have its development continue to inform yours over the years. I know that's certainly been the case for me in some of these games. Yo dog, I heard you like puzzles. How's me aggressively raising my volume during battles working for you? Is that making me a little more audible? I don't think I can do this yet. Oh, yes I can. Okay. Awesome. Oh, no, I was afraid of that. We have the Celsius tier. No, thank you. Again, you're not just an audience member. You're my tech support. I should be thanking you.
Enemies.
Look out, kids! The block puzzles are getting harder. We're into the second act of the block puzzles. Tales of Tetris.
Ready for this?
Devastation. Fire. Fire.
Fierce bang!
Fire seal.
Sonic fierce bang!
Evil doesn't stand a chance.
Ah, yes, the puzzle this time is that we're the block that we have to push in specific orders because we're sliding and we can't interrupt our movement mid-slide. It's all coming back to me. I remember this really kind of broke my brain as a kid because this was the first time I ever had to navigate puzzles of this kind in a game. What? Not sure what happened there. Oh, is this a thing in the early Pokemon games too? I embarrassingly still have yet to play those. Although I really want to, with everything that's happening in the series these days. And the fact that Dan keeps pitching it to me so well, and so many others on his podcast that he started now. I know. I think here's the thing. Dan knows me so well that he knows I'm the kind of person who's going to bully himself into it eventually, so Dan saves his bullying points for other things. Oh, I've played Kingdom Hearts. Do you think I haven't played Kingdom Hearts? No, forget about it. I'm not a Kingdom Hearts acolyte or savant in the way that Dan is, but I've played all the games. Well, I shouldn't say all the games. I've played the games you would reasonably expect someone to play that fall under the Kingdom Hearts corpus. Oh, I can't believe I forgot to get the answer to this on the way by. Alright, well, we're gonna go back to that little viewpoint that we grabbed on the way here. Okay, top one's facing to the left, the left one and the bottom one are facing to the right, and the right one is facing dead ahead. I think I can remember that, but I'm gonna cheat and take a picture just so we don't have to go back here more than the twice we've already done. Again, I'm telling you, my JRPG experience as a kid would have been radically made easier by the existence of smartphones. Now I'm not gonna be able to feel my way into getting back, am I? I'll get there. I have much more patience for this as an adult. Oh, I guess someone didn't. I say I have more patience for this and one of the viewers dropped. Hilarious. This one. Yes, there we go. And then like this. Yes, there we go. See? Only that person had had patience. Didn't take that long. And huzzah, look at this. I'm not even peeking at my phone and I remember it. This is the maximum amount of information I can hold in my working memory at one time. Now that it's all been fried by multiple JRPG storylines that I've had to hold in there at a single time. Gotta love that puzzle solved noise. Nothing like it. Oh, so was there just no memory circle to unlock this time? That's a bit inconvenient. Unless we don't have to fight Celsius, and I'm blanking on that. But better safe than sorry.
You who possess the right of the pact. I am Celsius, one who is bound to Mythos, the hero.
I seek a pact with Celsius. I ask that thou annulst thy pact with Mythos and establish a new pact with me.
Also, I know when you were first watching the stream you were dragging the voice acting, but I will say this with no further comment than just that it's a fact. These many years later, the voice actress behind Celsius, I think it's an actress, not an actor. I remember this voice acting quite vividly, despite this being a relatively minor character, and I don't think you get that from every single JRPG.
You seek a pact with me? How amusing. Let's see if you can handle me.
Come on, just the quality of... Oh, I'm brushing you off, but I'm kind of interested in what you're up to. Enough to test you. You gotta respect the voice actor who comes in and they tell you, like, yeah, you know, you've got 5 lines in 100-hour JRPG. And they just say, you know what, that's awesome, I'm gonna crush it, and I'm gonna be the best part of that tapestry of many different characters in that universe. I feel like so many people took that attitude with the littler characters in this game.
Freeze, Lancer!
Love ya.
Devastation! Freeze, Lancer!
First aid.
That did not work.
You ain't getting up, are you?
Be careful.
First aid.
Are you all ready? Take power! Try this! Power!
Take this! Freeze Lancer!
Ready for this? First aid.
Fire seat!
Ready for this? Try to
First
get
aid.
away.
Power field! Take this! Fire seat!
Freeze Lancer!
Messed up.
Oh, really? What do you mean? Why does that, like, take the potency of it away from you?
Here!
This takes concentration.
Freeze Lancer!
Beast!
This takes concentration.
Serpent! Spirit
Ready
seal!
for this? This takes concentration.
Serpent! No way!
Ready for this? First aid.
Freeze Lancer!
This takes concentration.
Messed up. Here! Now!
Ready for this? First aid. He love ya.
Messed up.
Ready for this? This takes concentration.
So, okay, while I'm healing Sheena and hopefully the battle music is a little softer, I'll clarify this because this is actually, I think, one of the kind of more subtle but interesting parts of the story. So the only reason that they're able to annul these pacts is because when the pacts are formed, they're like the summoner is bound by a covenant, so they make a vow to do something or uphold some principle, and as long as they do so, then the pact is eternal and inviolable, right? So the only reason that all of the summoned spirits are in a position to make a pact with Sheena and annul their old pact is precisely because we don't really know who this Mythos is who went around and made pacts with them, and we don't know what his vow was, but they're able to let that pact go and form a new pact because presumably he did not hold up his end of the bargain. So that is an important thing to keep in mind as we watch the story unfold.
Yep. Ready for this? First aid.
Beast! No!
Fire seal!
Ready for this? First aid.
Guardian seal!
Get my way. Get my way. Ready for this? This takes concentration. This takes... Ready for this? First aid.
Freeze Lancer!
It almost...
Messed up.
Ready for this? Here you go.
Freeze Lancer!
Love ya. Ready for this? First aid.
I might have to cycle Rain back into the party for healing soon. This is hard to manage without her. There we go. Alright. How's that for timing? It's interesting because this is what I'm talking about in terms of having to keep track of so much over the course of a JRPG. Because you can go back and watch in the stream, they do talk about it, but they literally only explain it in maybe like 4 or 5 lines of dialogue back to when they're forming the first pact with Undine. And Sheena is kind of trying to remember what she can learn from her, or what she can recall from her training at the Elemental Research Academy in Maltokyo. And I think Undine says something to that effect too. Or it might even be Kratos, because Kratos is still with them at that point. But you're right, it's just, especially when there's so much plot coming at you all the time, it can be very easy to miss that stuff. And to that point, I probably only remember it because, again, like, even though I'm recollecting this game now, I played it countless times as a kid. I think that's part of why New Game Plus is such a big part of the experience for these games, like especially the Tales games, not even just JRPGs more broadly, is you don't just want to replay them, you kind of have to replay them in order to let all of the different elements of the plot sink in. Otherwise you're not going to get it. Stop casting. Jesus Christ.
What a sorry
Take this!
Ready for this?
No way! Take this! Be careful!
Guardian!
Yeah, that's true. I think you're maybe being a little generous to the game, though, because speaking as the one who's playing it, and granted, this time I'm trying to manage a stream on top of playing it, so I have competing things for my attention, but I think even when you're advancing it, it's like, even just on the base level of playing the game, right, you're processing plot while also making gameplay decisions to advance things, and so it can be hard to really digest the plot, especially in a moment like that, like I was talking about with Indini before the boss fight, because you're also kind of like mentally prepping for the boss fight and figuring out in your head, what do I need to do to advance things to like the next dungeon or boss fight or get to the Tower of Salvation. So it's hard to really slow down and absorb the implications of that plot just for the story, not for what you need to do to navigate the gameplay. Especially in a game like this where you don't get a lot of the like quality of life hand-holding navigation help, so you do have to be like constantly thinking about what is it going to take for me to get to the next area, mechanically speaking.
Here,
Love ya.
be careful.
Ready for this?
Unpaused just to watch Presea die.
First
Be
aid!
careful.
Heal!
Here.
Getting there. I swear to God, if she casts Ice Tornado one more time,
Heal!
Be careful.
Celsius. I warned you. Oh my God. I don't think we have anything that can seal arts, but I would use it in a heartbeat on this.
First aid!
Ouch.
You help me now. Oh yeah! How do you do that? Ready for this? First
We're gonna get through this. It's ugly, but we've got it. 'Cause war is ugly. It's not a pretty thing to battle a god. Or goddess, as the case may be.
He love ya.
You may have ice on your side, but I have item spamming. The true primordial power.
Ready for this? First aid.
I lost?
Yeah, you did.
It looks like it is over.
But, you know, we got through and we somehow got a positive grade, despite spending more time on the floor than upright. That's what it's all about.
Excellent. It would appear that my freezing chill is but a summer's breeze to you.
I wouldn't go that far, but thank you for being generous.
Now, speak your vow. A vow worthy of my power.
See, so now with that as background, we can... thank you. Good job is also generous, but I'll take it. So see, understanding what we were talking about as background is helps us to make sense of this whole idea of the vow, but I'm with you. I mean, I think especially if you just get into the cadence of plugging through this, 60-hour or 40-hour or whatever story, like a lot of this just starts to sort of roll off your conscious mind as more JRPG jargon and stop thinking about the global implications of it to the story.
For the sake of creating a place in which the two worlds no longer must sacrifice one another, I ask that thou grant me thy power.
Understood. Use my power well.
So presumably if Sheena suddenly decided, like, well, I'm gonna, go back to trying to kill Colette, Silverant's chosen, and preference to Theala, that would ostensibly sever her pacts with these summoned spirits as well, because that's the structure of these vows and the sharing of power between them.
Now all we have to do is make a pact with Efreet, and we'll be able to sever the mana flow.
That's fair. Yes, that is a logistical challenge in and of itself. I can relate to that too.
All right, we're counting on you for the next one too, Sheena.
You got it.
Sapphire. All right, 3 packs down. And 5 to go? Yeah, I think we got 8 total. 4 pairs. More suspicious movement in the skies. It's the last thing you want in this game. Don't be silly, are you kidding? It's a JRPG. It's like a modern romance building or something. It's about the quality of life as experienced over a long period of time. It's got to intersect the banal with the transcendent. Bildungsroman. I think I said Romansbildung. Jesus. It's been a long time since I've had occasion to use that rather technical literary term. What was that? Truly a cursed town. Jesus. The second town that's been burned to a crisp.
Horrible.
What happened here?
Look! Lloyd, look! Look out!
What's wrong? Are you okay? We have to get out of here! What the hell happened here?
I don't really know. Suddenly lightning fell from the sky and angels attacked the village.
Angels.
They had wings. Those with wings are angels, right?
Damn it. It must have been the Crucius.
Crucius. So angels destroyed the village.
Presea, are you okay?
I'm fine. But this unsettling irritation, is this anger?
I'm impressed you survived. Are you the only survivor? What's your name?
My name is Mythos. I lived by myself on the outskirts of the village, so...
You have the same name as Mythos the hero.
A lot of mythoses running around in this here JRPG world of ours.
Wait, are you a half-elf? No.
Relax. You can tell, can't you? We have the same blood flowing through our veins as you do.
You're half-elves too? But you're with humans.
It's okay.
We're all friends.
It's interesting that some half-elves have the ability to recognize each other just by intuition or sense, whereas others don't seem to. I wonder what accounts for that.
Humans and half-elves as friends? You're lying.
No, it's true. My sister and I are part of this group.
Relax.
Yeah, but...
Your reaction is understandable. I've heard that the village of Ozette is particularly known for its contempt for half-elves. If you've lived an isolated life in this village, you must have suffered.
What happened here?
You're Altessa, right? What are you doing here?
I saw the lightning of judgment fall towards this village. But what in the world?
It was the work of Crucius angels.
Presea, you've regained your true self. How could they do this? Is this their punishment for failing the experiment?
What do you mean, punishment?
Nothing. It's nothing.
Wait!
The Master believes that it is his fault that Ozette was destroyed.
Altessa is connected to Ozette?
Yes. Excuse me, I am worried about the Master.
I'm going to follow him.
Yeah. Mythos, you should come with us.
But I'm a half-elf and...
That doesn't matter. Besides, what are you going to do if you stay here and the angels come back?
Radical anti-cynicism.
Lloyd's right. Let's all go together.
Oh, yeah, I would love your opinion on Tabitha as we go on. She's a radically understated and very interesting character to me, too. Let's put it that way. We'll put a pin in it. We'll have occasion to go back to it. Two who can't return. Man, the simple titles of skits, things that you could so easily write off or phone home or outsource, like that is pure poetry. That's another reason it's so hard for me to see the totality of these games. Just every single moment in them and little quiet scene like merits a study and reflection unto itself. That's kind of the approach that I'm trying to take with the companion written work that I'm working on for this. Genus, that's what he's known for, his small stature and his wisdom. I don't really understand, and maybe I'm just misremembering something myself about the future trajectory of the game, but I don't understand why they're playing it off that we don't understand what's happened with Presea, because I felt like they were pretty clear when they first talked about how she was being used in an experiment to develop Crucius crystals in the human body, that was like stunting her growth. So, I mean, that seems to me to be the obvious and complete explanation of why she seems younger and smaller than she actually is in terms of how old she is. But they have that whole, oh, it's nothing motif of JRPGs going on with it as though she's hiding it. So I might be missing something in the exposition. That's the true light of judgment, Zelos. Not lightning raining from the heavens, but kendamas descending upon you because you are a lech and a pervert. I don't think we're alike at all, Mr. White. Rodyle, always working his own schemes. Telegraph your opaque past more, Regal, please. Yeah. I think, the very first image that they give of the worlds being related to each other, when I think it's Sheena says in that campfire scene I wrote about that it's as if they were two sides of an hourglass. I think the more you think about that image, the more insight into the worlds you get, because that's exactly how they relate in terms of, as you say, them being zero-sum, but also how, were you in either side of the hourglass, you would feel as if your world were becoming more or less abundant with no concept of why that's the case, because you would have no visibility into the other side of the hourglass. I think that's also part of why the story is so harmonic, or even true to the name of the game, symphonic, is that there really is this natural give and take in terms of the different things that happen in it. Although I will say, I'm interested because one of the things that I don't remember that well is the whole plot of the Renegades and Rodyle and what he's up to, and I'm wondering whether part of the reason that it didn't stick in my memory as well is exactly because it doesn't have some sort of obvious counterbalance in the plot, the way that Sylverant has Tethayala and you have the yin and yang of the summoned spirits and everything else. That does seem to be less zero-sum than everything else. Ooh, yeah, I would be interested in hearing more about that, or if you share what you read with me, because actually not even about this, but resonance is something that is thematically central to Tales of the Abyss, so I've been thinking a lot about that in a different but related context. Shut up, Zelos. I want to get into a philosophical discussion. Bastard. Thank you. Yeah, please do send it along. Yeah, so keeping track of broader themes as we go. We talked a lot about, over the last couple streams, just the nature of sin and people feeling as if there are things that they need to atone for and how they live that atonement in one way or another. And now we're kind of, well, talking about zero-sum or give and take or resonance, right? This kind of applies to that, because now we're on the flip side of that in terms of what the people who have been sinned against owe the sinner or can even do for the sinner in terms of redeeming them or acknowledging them or not. Like we're seeing play out between Presea and Altessa. Fucking gnomelets. Every time you think we've moved beyond Gnome and his bizarro underlings. Mission accomplished. We did it, everyone. We sent the gnomelet home. We saved both worlds in the process. That's the end of the game. Thanks for joining. It's not longer than a JRPG, Altessa. Alright, we're getting a lot of exposition here, so buckle up, strap in. And again, like, it's always going to happen in a JRPG, but bear in mind, like, we're 22 hours in at this point, so it's not as if we've been front-loaded with all of these things to keep track of. Rather, we've been out, we've seen the world, we've seen the state of affairs, and now we're getting more context for it, which I think in many ways is a little more digestible and intuitive. So negative emotions cultivate X-spheres, and Crucius crystals are an evolved kind of X-sphere, which create angels. So also note, we're totally recontextualizing the journey of regeneration, not just in terms of it being a sham in terms of what's accomplished, but also the very notion of conflict along it being just a facade designed to hasten the Chosen's development into the vessel for Martel. Ah, you forgot about the mana cannon. That bizarro little plot device outside of the give and take of Sylvrant and Tethe'alla. Great Seed. Yep. And there are 2 holy grounds, one in each world, you might recall. Rain's over here playing chess in her head while we're all playing checkers. Regal, for a prisoner we took under our wing, you sure seem to be strangely educated and thoughtful. Want to tell us about that mysterious past of yours? I mean, that would be a good name for a pole that connects 2 worlds. Fair enough. Yeah, I love this track for like quiet, somber exposition. I love the choice of all caps for Tabitha too. Like, if you have to imagine using text without voicing everything, how do we express the sense that this is a gesture at a human rather than an authentic person in her own right? I don't know if I would ever have thought of that way of doing it, but it's a great way to capture that tonal character, just with semantics. Yeah, there's a little bit. In the scene when we just arrived here, she was voiced. And you get that same sort of like kind of distant approximation of speech from the voice actor, which is similarly impressive, just in a different way. We'll hear her talk again, so note that quality the next time she shows up. I'll try to point it out if I remember. Yeah, no worries. I'll call it out next time. Alright. I'm gonna say come along. Don't remember if this impacts things. And just pause and appreciate the deeply painful irony that Altessa's apology to Presea for basically causing so much of the misery in her life and devastating her hometown is this object that will better allow Presea to retain her full sense of self and have the emotional reactions that make it so hard for her to even look at Altessa in the face in the first place right now, because of those emotions that she now has access to. That's pretty cool for a video game. We've already done. You're not going to let us go here now anyways. Well, we don't have one of those. Okay, on to Altamira. It's a big, wide open world where you can be rejected from entry to all sorts of places you haven't accessed in the story yet. I think Altamira is on that standalone island, if memory serves. No, you don't laugh at Regal. All I have to do is cuff my hands and I'll become ripped. That was much less conceivable to me when I played this game as a kid. Now I've started keeping old man hours, so I want to say to Regal, yeah man, I'll wake up a little after 4, let's go. Make me into my best self. It's nice to start your day before the sunrise with a little bit of early morning gaming to orient yourself, let me tell you. If you haven't tried that, I strongly recommend.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to wait here.
What's up?
Won't say why, huh? Well, you don't want to talk about it? That's your business. Lloyd, let him do what he wants.
All right, we'll catch you on the way out.
Ms. Rain? Oh, it should be Ms. Sage, wouldn't she? Yeah, that used to be me. I forget if we talked about this, but when I was actually in the process of getting my book on Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and Wittgenstein ready for publication, I pulled my first all-nighter in probably years. So I used to pull them at like an unhealthy amount at university, and just because I was also a night owl, and having transitioned to keeping just aggressively regimented and regular sleeping habits, going back to that, boy, let me tell you, devastating. Like, it took my body probably a week to recover. Although there was something that felt kind of thematically appropriate of having a journey from the night into the dawn as the capstone of that kind of insanely long and intellectually challenging
Alicia, is it really
project.
You know Alicia?
What? Wait, then who...
Alicia is my sister.
Oh, I see. Ah, of course. Alicia passed away quite some time ago. She couldn't possibly be standing here now.
Passed away?
And right after she lost her home. And really her dad, because she only just realized that he had died.
What happened?
Alicia came to work in the service of the noble Bryant family, but she was caught up in an unfortunate incident that resulted in her death.
She died? How?
I dare not speak of the details. Please forgive me. Alicia's grave lies in the Sky Terrace of the Lazzareno Company headquarters. Please stop by there if you have the time. Alicia would surely be pleased to receive a visit from her younger sister.
Okay, now if you've been following the stream, you might also clock the Lazzareno Company building, the mine that we visited to get the inhibitor ore for Presea's, I almost said Crucius Crystal, and I almost said Core Crystal, which is a Xenoblade thing. We got the inhibitor ore for Presea's X-Sphere at the Lazzareno Company mine, so keep that in mind. Something going on with this company.
If you showed this to the receptionists, they should let you through.
Younger sister? I thought Presea was the older one.
That's strange. Presea said she had a younger sister.
Oh, I know. Maybe there are 3 sisters in all.
Colette, read the room, dude.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, see, I'm with Zelos on that one. He has his moments. Sounds like Mythos has a bit of rage inside him. And perhaps, as we were talking about with Lloyd quite a while ago, a need for vengeance. Always a good day when we actually have the stuff on hand to use the customization shops. Ah, there's the item store. I was almost gonna wander around blindly in search of the item store again. Good enough. Actually, sir, it's Ms. Rain. I thought this was the building with the rooftop terrace, but I guess the hotel is not the same as the Lazzareno Company building. Maybe this way. Here we go. Oh, you know, typical company business, just looking to see the grave of someone who died under suspicious circumstances.
Alicia, what happened to you?
What's this?
Hey, there's an X-sphere embedded here.
Why is there an X-sphere? Presea, sis, it's you, isn't it? Alicia? Look! I'm so happy I can see you again before I disappear. What's going on? Are you still alive? I exist only in the X-sphere. Soon even my consciousness will be gone. The X-sphere killed my body and absorbed my consciousness. I can't believe you've become a victim of the X-sphere as well. Presea, please grant me my request. Before I disappear, please find my master. Please find Master Bryant. Bryant? The noble you went to serve? Yes, by killing me, he... Alicia, he killed you? Please, tell me what happened. Please, Presea. Lloyd, please help me find Alicia's killer.
Of course. We'll beat this Bryant guy to a pulp and drag him back here.
Yeah, I won't let him get away with killing your sister.
Thank you.
What's wrong?
X-spheres are terrible things, aren't they?
Yeah.
Hey, time to go.
Just wait. That's all I have to say to you. Just wait. And like, and so many layers to this, right? Like, imagine on the one hand, just this idea of being able to encounter a loved one after they've died, but only for a short time, when their soul is like captured in this tool, the X-Sphere, the supplement for someone else. But then add to that just the mere storyline of Presea waking up from soulless zombiehood, only to, you know, first she loses her dad, then she, you know, like betrays her new friend Colette and like has to try to redeem herself for that, then has her whole town destroyed, then discovers her sister's dead, then has an opportunity to see her sister only to realize she's fading away from existence. Like, this poor girl, dude.
Okay.
I'll have to... Torchwood, is that a game? I haven't even heard of that. I'll have to put it on my list. I'm going to ask you if you have permission to be here, but I'm not going to ask you to leave. George! What are you doing here, man? Yeah, I'm not gonna show it on stream now because as of now it's a spoiler, but I'll just say one of my favorite things that I own is when I went and visited my friend and colleague Dan while he was living in Japan. Oh, okay, I think I have heard of that. I forgot it. I don't really go in for Doctor Who. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, I love a thoughtful sci-fi or fantasy device that really has thematic resonance. But yeah, so when I went to visit Dan in Japan, one of my favorite things was going to Akihabara, which is like the pop culture capital of Tokyo for like anime and video games and things like that. And just like seeing all of the merchandise that they had that, you know, would be really hard, if even possible, to find in the Western world. And so I went into all these shops and I was looking around just to see like, okay, what do they have for franchises that I know, that I've never seen? And one thing that they had was like a number of the box sets for the anime that Namco did, like in conjunction with these games. Like, I don't know if it's the case for all the Tales games, but basically all of them have an associated anime. And some of the boxes, like the issues they would release, just have absolutely beautifully rendered art of the different characters and their relationships. And that's a long-winded way of saying one of my favorite things is one of those boxes that has just really emotionally arresting artwork of Presea, which I will share once we've gotten past it being a spoiler. It's a good question. I actually, I can't vouch for that one way or another because I've actually never watched it. I don't go in for a lot of anime, and I think, I don't know whether much or all of it has been, like, translated over here. For instance, like the box sets I got in Japan, those are just in Japanese. I don't think they come with subtitles or anything like that. I'm sure you could find it online, but I think part of why I've stayed away is just, for me, these are video games that, you know, like most video games in the way I think about them, just a lot of what makes their stories so interesting and rich is the way that they play with just the nature of the medium. You'll be shocked to hear if you know anything about me, right? So I should give the anime a try at some point because I think I'm sufficiently down the rabbit hole of the series that it would be interesting in its own right. And I mean, I've been sitting on my butt the last few weeks watching The Last of Us, so I mean, I have like at least like a passing intellectual interest in thinking about what it takes to adapt video games into other media.
Yeah.
So it would be worth exploring at least, though I have not yet. But I will say, since we're streaming the remaster of Tales of Symphonia, I have noticed that Bandai Namco has been pushing on their social media like episodic releases of the Tales of Symphonia anime, and so I don't know whether they like did a remastered version of that too, or did like new subbing or dubbing or something like that. So insofar as this is an interesting view into the series for you, it would be kind of cool to do like a companion watch of that. I may even look into it for that reason, as I'm thinking about it out loud now. Alright, Otherworldly Gate. Let's do this.
Professor!
It became night very suddenly, but, you know, it was 2003. I'll give them a pass for that. It wasn't the sort of real time that you get in, like, Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Everyone, why are you all here?
Why do you think we're here? We were worried about you. It's dangerous to come here alone. As a fellow half-elf, I can't just leave you here by yourself.
Why did you come to this place?
This is where Genus and I were abandoned.
What are you talking about? You two are from Silverant.
No, I happened to catch sight of this place when we rescued Colette, and it's been on my mind ever since. Then, when I heard the story about the two poles which connect the two worlds, I became certain. The images in my memory, the ruin I've been searching for all this time, is this place.
And suddenly there's a lot of pathos behind the reason she's so obsessed with ruins.
So what are you saying? The two of you were born in Tetheala?
It can't be. All my memories are of Iselia. I don't know this place at all.
We were born and raised in the village of the Elves, from which we were eventually ostracized. We were abandoned here because this place was said to be the path to the legendary Silverant.
The village of the Elves? The secret village said to be off-limits to anyone except Elvenkind?
Yes. I don't know the details of what happened, but I'm positive that I was left here along with Genus when he was just a newborn, and we eventually ended up in Silverant.
Then this time, let me send you to hell instead!
Who's there?
Kuchinawa! What are you talking about?
My chance to avenge my parents' deaths has finally arrived.
Not everyone has processed Sheena's failed pact with Volt in as healthy a way as she ultimately did.
Avenge your parents?
Correct. You will die for killing my parents, along with countless others of our village when you failed to control Volt.
What?
That was an accident. Why are you doing this now?
Accident? I could have accepted things if she just failed to make a pact with a summoned spirit. But then, she failed to assassinate the Chosen of Silverant, thereby placing Mizuho in danger. Yet look at her now. She's made pacts with summoned spirits just like that.
You have it all wrong.
Do I? I think she wasn't really trying during the first pact making.
This is also really kind of subtle and devastating. The idea that, like, when you work harder and ultimately succeed at something that you weren't able to do beforehand, that can sometimes make others just resent you even more, and yet it's still the right thing to do and you ought to persevere despite that. Like, what a way to show that in something where a lot of people might not expect it, like a JRPG, without beating you over the head with it, like many other games in the genre do.
She killed my parents and our people.
I did the best I could.
Enough excuses.
Don't hate me, because I'm beautiful.
Are you all ready?
Beautiful night for a boss battle.
Try this! Power infliction! No way! Right! Gravity well! Spirit seal!
just remembered these guys do not have an elemental resistant to ice, so we can actually get our better card equipped again. There we go. Yo, dog, I heard you like being damaged.
Demon!
Fire Seal! Wanna charge? Thunderblade!
Long live the power.
That's it? I'm just getting started.
I'll also add that difficulty level seemed cranked way down from the Celsius boss fight. I don't know whether that's intentional as to imply something about the level of the enemy versus the god you faced before, or if it's just my having facility with one battle type more than another, but it is a marked difference.
Kuchinawa, please! Don't drag them into this! I'm the one you despise, right? Then I'm the only one you need to kill.
Sheena, stop talking like that.
Fuck you, Alex.
It's okay. Kuchinawa, please.
You come here on the day of my stream, and you insult me in front of my dog and my viewers. Andrew, what are you doing on Alex's account? There are too many levels of the JRPG story to deal with other nuances of identity in my chat. Who else is here? You got me, my dog. You got Chrissy, a longtime fan of the site, who's watching from England. You got maybe some more viewers. I don't know. People have been coming in and out. Hey, if you are looking for background music, the soundtrack of Tales of Symphonia is pretty high up there.
Enough of this, Sheena!
And of course, my handsome voice on top of that. Nah, I'm kidding.
Lloyd, come on! Everybody, into the gate!
Thank you. It's only taken 3 weeks of streaming to get a decent audio setup, so you are benefiting from my previous failures.
Guardian's signature trail disappeared. They've escaped into Silverant.
And we're going back to the other world after, I don't know, what would you say, 10 hours in Tetheala? Telling you, the pacing in this. We've been talked about it on Reddit the other week, but I think there is a magic to the way that this game just gives you everything you need at the right time and pivots between different worlds and settings in a way that doesn't overwhelm you, but keeps you engaged and having a sense of momentum in the story.
Where are we?
Probably on the outskirts of Palma Costa.
We're back in Silverant? The mana level seems to have risen, but it's definitely Silverant.
Oh, man. I never thought I'd wind up coming over to this side like that.
Zealous, why did you butt in?
Excuse me? Don't tell me you actually wanted to die back there.
Well...
Besides, those guys would have come after us regardless of whether or not you died. Pope's orders and all.
Are you saying Kuchinawa is working for the Pope?
It's likely. Those assassins he had with him were the Pope's men, weren't they?
The Holy Royal Armor is a bit of a giveaway.
I'm certain of it.
Sheena, please don't do something like that again. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Nothing good will come of you sacrificing your life.
Colette's absolutely right. You should thank Zelos, Sheena.
Thanks.
See, I'm telling you, Zelos, he contains multitudes. Keep an eye on that fella.
Come on now. Would it hurt you to give me a kiss or two?
I immediately withdraw what I just said.
Zelos, you're horrible.
Ooh, ouch.
That's a line reading that always stuck out to me, too. It's such a throwaway line in this jokey Zelos is a pervert scene, but the sincerity with which Presea just seethes, Zelos, you're horrible, is like, you could take that line and put it as a response to like the most morally heinous action in the game, and it would sound just as right.
But what are we gonna do now?
Well, since we're back in Sylvarant, why don't we find out what the Desians are up to?
A little bit. Change the tone, at least. Let's put it that way.
What about Mythos? We can't drag him into this.
Maybe we could ask the Palmacosa government to take care of him for a while.
We can't drag him into this, says Genus after literally dragging him to a different world. Talk about trying to crawl across the bridge after you burned it to the ground.
Neil, huh? I guess that's a good idea.
I want to fight too. What are you saying? This journey is dangerous even if you had an X-Sphere.
He's right, Mythos. We do appreciate your sentiment, though.
I suppose you're right. I understand.
Okay, so we have to stop and think about this for a second too, right? Because we pretty quickly moved past this revelation that Genus and Rain are from Tetheala and they were abandoned at the Otherworldly Gate, right? But just think about, I mean, we don't know that much about the frequency of cycles between which world is prospering and which one is declining. But I think it's a safe assumption to think that even back when Genus and Rain were very young, Sylvarant was still in decline. So again, what a like understated but thoughtful and moving way of just talking about how bad the discrimination against half-elves is in Tetheala, where their parents could think, man, even a world that is in decline and falling apart and rotting in terms of the mana availability in it would be better for my children than anywhere in this universe that we have before us. That's a pretty sad indictment of Tetheala, I think. And a testament to the love of their parents. Oh, Sheena. This will be interesting to think about as we keep playing the game, because I think I've almost said this a few times on the stream. I don't think I have. I feel like, and again, I haven't played this game in like over a decade, but from my memory of it and what we've been through so far, I think there is an interesting read you could do of it with Sheena as like the main character or the thematic center of the game, even though she seems very much to be cast in a support role. It would be interesting to do like a critique of the game through her perspective. Oh, dude, do we have some things to catch you up on? It's a long story. No, we super killed Magnius. Well, Kratos super killed him with his triple sword attack, if you fail to remember. Oh no, I'm an idiot. I'm confusing Grand Cardinals in my head. I'm thinking of Kavar, whom he absolutely laid into. But we did a number on Magnius as well. Panpipe. A musical wind instrument. I wonder what purpose that will serve. Those who have been paying attention in the stream so far might have a few ideas. Guest appearance by Evie, who wants all of her dad's attention if you're missing this. She's demanding that I give her belly rubs. This is the true burden that the streaming philosopher of games must bear. Playing game and talking about the narrative structure of game, whilst also giving innumerable pats to Corgi. Heavy is the head. Boy, guys, I wonder how Chocolat is doing. Remember Chocolat? That poor girl who willingly went with the designs because she couldn't bear to think of Lloyd and Genus killing her grandma, and is still in their custody, put to work in a human ranch? Oh, we know who Alicia is. Regal, you have something you want to tell us, buddy? That mysterious past starting to bubble to the surface a little bit. Literally, look at my freaking video right now. You see what I have to do? Oh, she got embarrassed. Yeah. There was a dog directly in my face.
That's that.
I didn't mean to embarrass you. You know I love you. You can come back if you want. I think streamers, benefit from having corgis hanging out. I'm sure the audience is more interested in you than in me anyways. Alright, and now the beauty of going back over the same topology in a JRPG when you can fly as opposed to walk. And we don't have to deal with all these ridiculous mountains that got in the way of getting to the ranch from Palma Costa. You see how easy that is now? Didn't get lost a single freaking time.
Renegades.
Bota, I presume.
So that's it. Neil and the others couldn't tell the difference between the Desians and the Renegades.
Listen, I don't even blame you. I am Aaron, and I support that inequality. I think I tweeted this, but one of my favorite things I got at PAX East was this great Rescue Dogs game, which I forget what it's actually called, but you can look at my Twitter. I tagged their account. It's a game that is based on corgis, and like some amount of the proceeds go to animal rescues. So it's great, and everyone should check it out. But they have done pins at PAX for a long time of corgis. And as the dad of a tricolor corgi, I was so stoked this time to see that they had added tricolors and not just the typical light brown and white ones that you see elsewhere. So I got a beautiful, very nice quality pin of a tri-corgi sprawled out doing the classic sploot in honor of my little girl.
We've been waiting for you. Are you saying you were expecting us to come here? Does it really matter? We have more important things to discuss, such as joining forces.
Unbelievable. You actually expect us to trust you after all you've done to Lloyd and Colette?
I've heard tell that your group is known for being very trusting and anti-cynical, and I'm looking to capitalize on that.
Circumstances have changed.
Ewan!
Do you know of the giant Carlon tree?
The legendary giant tree is said to have existed in the holy ground of Carlon, right? It's the tree of life which produces infinite mana.
And we've got an idea on the table of a great seed now, too.
Isn't that just a fairy tale?
The giant Carlon tree indeed existed, but the Carlon War exhausted its mana supply and the tree wilted away. And now all that remains is its seed left in the holy ground of Carlon.
Oh, would you say it's a great seed?
The seed of the giant tree is in the final seal?
It is known as the Great Seed.
Ah! It's all coming together.
Are you talking about the soul of Mythos?
It is nice that we're doing, like, all of this continuity in a single stream so we can see the pieces be introduced and resolved. You see, like, if you time your playthrough right, it's not that much to keep track of because they have, again, nice timing and pacing of when concepts are introduced versus when they're elaborated upon and when you come to see how they tie into other stuff.
Now that is a fairy tale. The Great Seed, the source of the world's mana, is the seed of the giant tree.
The Great Seed is absolutely vital in order to reunite the two worlds. Reunite the two worlds? I believe I told you before, Yggdrasil is the creator of the two worlds. Originally, the world was one, but Yggdrasil ripped it asunder. How is it even possible for someone to split the world apart? It was possible for Yggdrasil. The two worlds have managed to survive by vying for the small amount of mana seeping from the Great Seed.
So that's why the cycle of flourishing and declining continues, and the Chosen goes on the journey of regeneration.
But if the Great Seed germinates, the giant tree will be restored and the cycle will come to an end. How do we resurrect the giant tree? The Great Seed is nearly dead. We must expose it to a large amount of mana in order to save it.
There's no supply of mana like that to be found anywhere in the world.
Crucius's base, Daris Carlon, is a comet made from a giant mass of mana. It lies suspended in the sky high above this land. All we have to do is use that.
Well, if that's true, why doesn't Yggdrasil revive the giant tree?
All of Daris Carlon's mana is being given to Martel for the sake of resurrecting her.
What?
By using the power of a Crucius crystal, Martel's soul lives on, existing as a part of the Great Seed.
Also a really interesting thing to learn about Martel and the nature of her soul after we've just seen Alicia's state and the way that her soul and consciousness is persisting, albeit in a kind of ghost-like state after her body's death.
If Martel awakes, the Great Seed will be absorbed into her and disappear. The reverse also holds true.
Going back to that idea of resonance and zero-sum that we were talking about earlier on the stream.
In order to prevent that from happening, Yggdrasil protects the Great Seed with the seals of the summon spirits.
So that's why the renegades are trying to stop Martel's revival.
Yep, it is a good question. And again, think about just like how much these characters are trying to build the airplane while they're taking off the ground, right? Literally and figuratively, I guess. Like, they have only pretty recently in their lives learned that there are two worlds, let alone how they're related to one another. And so they have this resolution to do what's best for everyone, but really are still very much in the dark in terms of what the mechanics are to actually affect that best outcome, whatever it might be.
Yes. We will make the Great Seed germinate. As a result, Martel will be absorbed by the seed, and then
the giant Carlon tree will be reborn.
If that happens, will the two worlds become one again?
That I don't know. The only certainty is that the world will end if the seed is lost.
So, you're gonna have Miss Martel be a good little girl and disappear.
Martel is already dead. If it weren't for Daris Carlon's mana, her soul would have disappeared a long time ago.
Why is Yggdrasil so obsessed with Martel?
That doesn't matter. What's important is that we see to it that the Great Seed germinates.
But it might matter. It won't come up again. Don't worry about the character's motivations.
Up till now, the Great Seed has been protected by the summoned spirits of the declining world.
The mana links.
Correct. Now that the links have begun to unravel, the Great Seed's protection has weakened.
Because we have been forming pacts with the summoned spirits of both worlds.
Now I understand why you want us to join you. It's because we have Sheena, a summoner.
Ewan, are you with Crucius, or are you with the Renegades?
I am with Crucius, and I am also the leader of the Renegades.
A double agent?
In other words, a traitor.
So, what's your decision?
The theme of treachery runs deep, too. Keep an eye on that.
Okay.
Lloyd, you're going to trust him?
Yeah. He's revealed the fact that he is a traitor. He's putting himself on the line. That has to mean something.
I'll trust him too.
You were headed towards Rodyle's ranch, correct?
You sure know a lot about what we're doing. You have a spy watching us or something?
No kidding. But either way, we have to stop that mana cannon thing before it's completed.
We also have a debt to pay back to Rodyle.
The ranch and mana cannon systems should be interlinked. Disabling the control room should be our first priority.
You seem to know quite a lot about them.
We have a reason to infiltrate Rodyle's ranch as well. We can guide you to the entrance if you like.
We're teaming up, right? Of course. Please take us there.
Why are you going to the ranch?
We need to make preparations to fire mana at the Great Seed. Oh, by the way, the Riard dimensional transfer system will be offline while we make our preparations. You'll have to wait until after we infiltrate the ranch if you want to get back to Tetheala.
Got it.
Talk to Boda when you're ready. I'll leave the rest to you, Boda.
Understood.
Man, we are learning in leaps and bounds after a couple of sessions where we were really just going with the flow. The mana flow and the narrative flow. That was like half a dad joke. You don't have to put me all the way in dad jail for that. I want to see, before we go on with the ranch infiltration, how open is this world? In particular, can we go off and make a pact with a summon spirit before we go on the next leg of the adventure? I want to go check in on Efreet. I guess even that, as we're talking about the give and take and the dualities that drive this story, like we have the radical trust and anti-cynicism of the party, but then of course the other side of that hourglass, as we're talking about now and as has come up multiple times on this stream, is the idea of treachery, right? If you endorse radical trust, then you also accept that as a direct result of that, you'll be open to being betrayed. And then the question becomes, when you are betrayed, what do you do with that? Which I think we've already seen, like Lloyd in particular, wrestling with, as Kratos has come back around to gently guide the party in less than clear ways more than once since he betrayed them at the Tower of Salvation. Alright. Back to the Triot Ruins. Yeah, quit is a strong word. I would not characterize what happened as Colette quitting the journey. You might call them now on the real journey of regeneration, since they're trying to do what the false journey architected by Crucius and the Designs only pretended to do. Actually save and restore the world. I bet you he's gonna be here. Our boy Efreet. If I can remember the right way to get there. Oh, the real question is, speaking of vengeance, can I have my revenge against that damn mimic chest who obliterated me on stream at the very beginning of this experience? Anyone here who remembers that disaster? Maybe we can test him on the way out. I want to see if we can form this pact first. Oh! Looks like someone's hanging out.
Efreet. I bet it's gonna get really hot if we fight him.
And you say you slept through all your classes.
What's the matter? Having second thoughts about making the pact?
No, of course I want you to.
Okay, I'm going to point this out because I think this is actually really cool too. When we were going on the journey of regeneration the first time, remember I noticed how even though those were all seemingly the key events in the main plot of the story, they were not all voice acted. Like, many of those seals were just text with no one talking. Compare that with returning to the seals to form a pact with the summon spirits, something that is much more directly motivated by the characters and what they have learned about the world, and notice that every damn one of these is voiced. I think that's a really cool instance of something you wouldn't expect to make a difference in a game's theming and storytelling, namely the difference between lines being voiced and not voiced, actually having a really big impact on how we think about the role that those different events play in the overall story.
Anyway, here we go.
Possess the right of the pact. I am one who is bound to Mythos.
I am Sheena. I seek a pact with Efreet. I ask that thou annulst thy pact with Mythos, and establish a new pact with me.
I shall test whether you are worthy of forming a pact. My fire will render everything to ashes.
Oh no, I forgot to reset my party. I don't have the organization of people I was counting on. Regal's not here. Why would you use a fire spell against it? Genius, you're supposed to be smart. Oh no. Alright, well, we'll do our best. Maybe it'll work out. I don't know if it's better to use the Card of Water, because it's going to be weak against water, but it's so much weaker in terms of its raw attack stat. Yeah, we'll try to rock it with what we have. There you go. Use more of that. Actually, I'm going to do what I never do and actually take advantage of this command system to just turn off his fire spells. Because if I can't trust him to just know better, I can order him to know better.
Demon Fang! Fire Seal!
Nope. Oh, that hurt. I love the Summon Spirit battle track. So good.
Are you all ready? Twin Flame! Here I go! Power! Infliction! Here!
Ready for this? Explode! First aid!
I ran directly into that.
Here, be careful!
Ashes! Erupt!
Serpent Satellite! Spirit Fire!
Ready for this? Erupt! First aid!
What if I actually use one of these quartz elements? Give Presea some water power.
Serpent Seal! How again? Get him!
Oh, didn't like that. Let me try Celsius, our new summon. Oh, I guess we haven't used Gnome yet either. Oh, I was already committed to Celsius. Let's try that one.
Devastation upon the disciple of everlasting ice. Come, Celsius.
Oh, but I forgot we'd made a pact with Undini. That probably would have been the play since she's the water spirit. Oh, that worked. That's why I didn't want you in the party.
Hey, be careful. Be careful.
First aid.
Little glass cannon of a spellcaster, I'm telling you. Oh, I thought I made that.
Be careful.
How we doing? Oh shit, he's got a lot of health. Alright. We're more than halfway. It's okay. Grin and bear it. I regret not planning out the party better, but we'll be fine. We'll do it live.
Here.
Ready for this?
Here, be careful.
Get him! All right! Ice tornado!
Hey! Now the most annoying ice spell in the world works for me.
First aid.
Oh! Didn't like that.
Here.
Ready for this?
Gravity well! Serpent Seal! Spit fire seal!
Boy, he loves going into over limit.
Here, be careful.
Ready for this?
Serpent power seal! Fire infliction! Round! Fire seal! Red!
Ready for this? First aid.
Serpent fire seal!
Here,
Love ya.
be careful.
Gravity well!
Alright. Well, at least it didn't nuke both of us.
Here, be careful!
Oh, wow.
First aid.
I think I accidentally took that in Presea's place. Burned that item.
Here, be careful. Are you all ready?
Power seal! Wind blade!
Try this. Power.
Infliction!
Booyah!
It looks like it is over.
Yeah, Efreet, if anyone watching on the stream has a mythology background, they can feel free to cut in. It's definitely like a mythological god figure that I think is associated with fire, because it comes up in a lot of JRPGs and lore. But I couldn't tell you which religious tradition it derives from. But I think that's pretty much the case for all the summon
Your
spirits.
power is admirable. Very well. Speak your vow.
For the sake of creating a place in which the two worlds no longer must sacrifice one another, I ask thou to grant me thy power.
I bestow upon you my raging inferno.
Efreet could teach like a master class in self-confidence. One of those self-help seminars. Islamic, my boy, there you go. Asked and answered.
Celsius, has been a long time.
No, I guess it's Islam. But that's awesome. Yeah, I don't think they're all Islamic in this game, though. I think it draws from a range of mythologies, if memory serves.
I never thought I'd have to see your face again.
While we may be opposing forces, must you avoid me so earnestly?
What choice do we have? We are harmful to one another.
Yeah, but come on, that's what makes the relationship so spicy.
Then perhaps we should be joyous that our mana has been severed.
Who knows? What is clear, though, is that this situation will affect the entire world.
Indeed.
All we can do now is trust in the Pact Maker.
Yes, I guess blind, ruthless trust and anti-cynicism is indeed the order of the day.
We leave everything in your hands.
Yeah, he does. I don't think that's him. Yeah, that would be an interesting study too, how it's almost like a derived mythos at this point, because it does, like, you get the same figures and they have different sources, but it's like a common language or pantheon of figures that occurs across all sorts of JRPGs.
But you know, I've been thinking, if the worlds are separated from each other, we're not going to be able to see each other again, are we?
Why not? We can just go back and forth with the Riards.
Lloyd.
Right now we can move in between the worlds because they're connected by the flow of mana. But if the worlds are split apart, we don't know what will happen.
So the instant the flow of mana is severed, the two worlds may part ways forever.
Will that mean that when we form the pact with the final summoned spirit, we'll all have to say goodbye?
We don't know if that's really the case, so there's no point in worrying about it right now.
True.
Yep. And Bahamut too, of course, my favorite one from Final Fantasy. Went out of my way to get a beautifully rendered full art version of his trading card in the Final Fantasy trading card game, which I don't play, but I just wanted to have it that much. Oh my god, dude, for real, you are like truly the 5th or 6th person to have mentioned Golden Sun to me even in the last couple months. I think because it was released or something, but people have so much love for that game. And I have never played it, so maybe it's a sign I finally have to get off my butt and add that to the list. I'll do this with arts, actually. I've heard tell, especially when it comes to the like the mythology of it. It did some interesting stuff with that, as I understand it. Boo! Destiny jokes on a JRPG stream? Come on, you're better than that. I also, like, I don't think you're taking sufficiently seriously, like, the task I've already set upon myself to play through, like, a decent chunk of the Tales series and treat that as an analytical enterprise. Like, there are a lot of these games alone, and I've already been JRPGing for, like, probably a good solid year or thereabouts at this point, if you count from my replay of the original Xenoblade Chronicles onward. So, this is good. Like, I mean, I remember, I am going to try to kill this asshole now that we're so much stronger as a party, so buckle up and hope that it works out well. What was I going to say? Oh, like, after I was, I think once I was done playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3, I was telling Dan, like, man, you know, on the one hand, I'm so exhausted by JRPGs, I want to take a break and play a bunch of games that are shorter and very different styles of game. But then on the other hand, like, my body is in the best shape, so to speak, from all the exercise I've been getting playing JRPGs. and it's so much easier to get through them when you're already used to it and you know where to go and what to do and how to just process and hold the tropes in your mind. So why not just lean into it and play a shit ton more JRPGs? And, well, the rest, as they say, is history. I think you can tell which direction I ended up going, for better or worse. See, and now it's that easy, because we went back to it way later at a much higher level. But I'll tell you, even though it was way imbalanced in the other direction, it still felt like proper vengeance. Now that chest has to reload his game and start way too far back. Alright, well, since we're able to do Efreet, I kind of want to just keep trucking and go after the Summon Spirit of Wind, too. If we can restock on items first. Although I'm not sure if we'll be able to get the higher tier gels while we're in Sylph. That'll be worth checking. Nope, so that might be a problem. Well, let's see, how many of those better gels did we use against Efreet? Let's make a game day call here. We have 12 lemon gels. It's really the lemon gels that are the issue, because those are so good at healing your party's health. Well, maybe I'll try just keeping Rain in the party for the moment so we can have more healing on hand in battle. And let's try it. Let's go after the Summon Spirit of Wind. Worst case scenario, we fail miserably. Well, we should be okay. Okay, to the Temple of Wind. Worth remembering the stuff we learned earlier about how to summon Aska, since we are now down the road of getting the summon spirits. And suddenly the stuff we encountered way early in the game starts to make a little bit more sense in terms of what we're expected to do with it. And where are we going next to get the Summon Spirit of Wind? Ah, see, it's all connected. And we already have Gnome, haha. Okay, so keep your eyes peeled while we're flying around because I do not remember where the Linkite tree is. If we happen to see something that is inaccessible by foot, let's stop by. Didn't even go the right way. It has been a minute since we've been here. There. Oh, Jesus Christ. Ah, wow. The degree to which I took my time with the spikes really paid off.
Help is on the way. Nurse!
That's it? I was just getting started.
Oh, I remember where the memory glyph was for here. It's not in a convenient location. Well, we can just give it a shot. If it works out, it works out.
Sheena, we're counting on you with Sylph.
Bring it on!
You are a summoner, are you not? We, the Sylph, already share a pact with Mythos.
A party-type summon spirit.
I am Sheena. I ask that thou annullest thy pact with Mythos and establish a new pact with me.
Ah, so the next Pathmaker's finally here.
Okay then, we'll test out your power!
Back in the day, I instinctively knew which of these to target first. But we're starting over now. We'll just have to see how much health they all have. Go from there. Right. Sephi has 12,000. No, that's Utis. Eris has 10k. My guess is we want to end with Sephi. You know, I'd never thought of that, but yeah, they have different elements. They're testing your mettle. They give you something that helps you to advance in your journey to achieve in the world. They definitely have that vibe. Yeah, I was right. After a fashion. Ferris.
This takes concentration.
Ready?
This takes concentration now.
Here.
Love you.
No way.
First aid.
Don't get in my way.
Takes concentration.
Ready?
Gotta love an archer in an opposing party. Those arrows needling you from afar.
First aid.
Ready? Nurse!
Ready for this?
Got the thing.
Get wrecked!
Are you aware? I summon you. Come, Celsius!
Booyah! Like spear damage.
Are you ready? Are you coming in my way? Go! Ready? Don't get in my way! Go, go, go! Ready? Are you all ready?
Oh, I missed. Ugh. What a lame time to miss.
Go, go, go! Devastate! Ready? Nurse!
We'll say it is a much easier game when you have a proper bona fide healer in your party. Funny how that works.
Don't get in my way! Are you kidding me? Punish me! Nurse!
Ready for this?
Help is on the way. Ready? Cuteness. Don't get in my way. Spirit seal. Field barrier.
Well, this is interesting because I would have thought having multiple summon spirit enemies to manage would be harder than having one bigger, stronger summon spirit. But I really feel like we're having a much easier go of it with Sylph than we did with Efreet.
Man, I rule! I'm so cool!
Yeah, that was no contest. Go team. We might have found the dream team after all.
I'm impressed too.
Thank you. It's weird that more people aren't impressed.
Yes, you shall have what you seek. Now make your vow.
I want to create a place in which the two worlds no longer must sacrifice one another.
Understood. But please keep to your vow. We do not wish to be betrayed again.
See? Now we're tying together what we were talking about earlier in the stream with Mythos having abandoned the summon spirits with this idea of betrayal that everyone in the party has been wrestling with. Also, the first time we got something close to one of the summon spirits speaking ill of their former
Sylph,
pact
it's
keeper.
been like, what, 4,000 years? How's it going? Looking good.
Ah, Gnome. You couldn't have shown up late enough.
It has been a long time, hasn't it? It seems that the mana flow between us has been severed.
Yep, there's gonna be an earthquake here in a bit. After all, we just basically ripped out the mana link. Hello?
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. Take care, everyone. See
See y'all later! Okay, later!
Let us know if you need any help with, random generic things like revitalizing a specific tree in order to summon one of our friends. But that probably won't come up again. You got the gym badge. I mean the ring that is a symbol of the Covenant.
Just one more to go.
Do you really think Sylvarant and Tetheala will be cut off from each other forever?
We're gonna do this regardless, right?
Yeah.
But if the Riards stop working after we form the last pact, we're going to be stuck in one world or the other.
The people of Mizuho wish to move to Sylvarant. There has to be something we can do.
I suggest we do some investigation on the effects of separating the worlds before we form the pact with the final summon spirit.
It seems as though the shaking has increased in magnitude.
Love the way they make the text box shake too.
The time between the severing of the mana flow and the resulting earthquake has decreased as well.
I guess the worlds are struggling to split apart.
You go, girl. See, Sheena, unlike Colette, actually gets more capable as she continues engaging the seals, as opposed to just mutating into a lifeless vessel for a sleeping goddess. Oh, we got a level 4 EX gem. I didn't even see that happen. That's awesome. Yeah, let's do it. Celebrate the summoner as she spreads her wings.
This is gonna be big.
Ready? Nurse!
I do remember one of the things about this game that I really fell in love with as I played it through more and more times is you reach a point where your party is so over-leveled relative to the monsters you're encountering on the world map that you can literally take out most monsters with a single attack, which is a very satisfying sense of power creep as a player, especially if you were using those areas earlier to grind or having a really hard time progressing or things like that. Thought we might just fly around for a moment and see if we can find anywhere that's inaccessible by land. Might have one of those special trees we need to get Asuka's attention. I truly do not remember where it is. Although there is this whole area over here that was inaccessible before. Might be worth checking this out. That's not it. I know what that is. It's not worth stopping there right now. Island of Cats. Oh, I lost the skip. I wish they were a little more durable in terms of how long they stuck around those skip prompts. I did not mean to land here. Although, can we infiltrate the design base right now? That's a good question. My guess is no. I think that's
50%
bound to the story.
We won.
It's worth checking. Yeah, that was my guess. Come on, man, that's where they said Chocolat was. We have to save her.
This is gonna be cake.
Do not bother us.
We are pretty much at that one-hit KO point with the earliest enemies in the game. I'm remembering we should also see Dirk about the extra that we need for summoning Aska while we're here. And just, you know, check in on dear old Dad. It's been a minute. Dad, did you know about this whole Two Worlds thing? Were you holding out on me? Altessa said many dwarves are involved in Crucius. There you go. Good guy Dirk. Bad guy Altessa, am I right? Oh, Corinne. May you rest in peace. I can't believe I glossed over that in my recap at the top of the stream. Although I kind of can, because that sacrifice is still one of the most quietly devastating things to me. Actually, that makes me wonder. Oh, there's something I know we can do later. I don't know if we can do it yet. But while we're here and revisiting Sylverant, I want to go back to Martel Temple to see if we can do something here. It'll take 2 seconds if we can. Nah, not yet. I'm gradually remembering more of the categorically cool and rewarding side content in this game. I just want to make sure we don't miss it. A lot of times you can miss the timing for events. Oh my god, I didn't mean to enter. The Reard controls, it's a joy to be back on my first JRPG playing, but the controls leave a little something to be desired. Put it that way. Tree is high up. Oh, I think I remember where it is. Yes! Haha! Thank you. Scanning of the map combined with my deep memory of key story events in this game. Linkite tree! Ooh, seen better days. But we have all the things, I think. Are you kidding me? Dude, I thought we could use Mythos' panpipe for that. Isn't that what it's for? I was being so clever when I was alluding to the summoning of Aska when we first got it. Maybe something happens before we get to use it for that. Oh, clearly something does since we can't right now. Ugh. Well, at least now we know where it is. It's not a waste of time if you learn something. That's what Dark Souls taught me through all those many, many deaths. Each of which was a learning experience unto itself. Well, I guess we're ready to infiltrate that base. Okay, Bata. Show me the way. So I just had to, you know, do one or two things, make pacts with a few primordial elemental beings. The usual. Please don't blow this place up. I know that's your signature move. But I really want to, though. But it's a little fun, right, Rain? Getting back at these monsters. Boy, how's that for a run-up, huh? The development of the scope of these ranches with each successive one you visit is very cool to keep track of.
That's it? This is getting started.
Output should be
ready?
Oh man. Back to not having a good hit rate with that unison attack. I thought I'd fix that.
Don't get in my way. That's it. Ready? Field barrier.
Area beams.
It'll be okay. That's it? This is getting started. You're in.
Hallways that are too narrow to avoid any enemy encounters whatsoever. Love it.
Ready for this? First aid.
Are you afraid? First fire.
Supersonic thrust. To inferior beings.
Heard you like puzzles. I remember these rooms vividly from when I was a kid too.
You guys stalking?
It's funny, I talked on, I think, one of the first streams how when I was playing this as a kid, I was playing it, obviously, in my parents' house, and I played in our living room, not in my room, and so sometimes they would walk by and see what was going on, and so the one thing I remember, which I mentioned early in the streams, was how at one point one of the characters was cursing and saying damn, and they just like couldn't fathom that I was playing a game with that kind of language. There's clearly more to this puzzle, I think. There we go. That'll do it. Yep. But then the other thing that I remember was in this specific design base, because all of the enemies, of course, are designs, and so they walk by and you're going through combat with them, and they're like, man, that violence looks so realistic. You're fighting people. I thought it would be like, monsters or something cartoony or something, and that's so like graphic and horrible. And it's like, parents, I'm too young at this point to sit down and explain to you how richly and intelligently this game forces us to think about those issues of like what human life consists in and what is the value of death and sin and redemption and all of those things. So what I'm going to do, because I'm a kid, is roll my eyes at you and not engage, and then make a point of studying video game storytelling on a collegiate level in order to then later on explain to you why you are wrong and I am right. That's the normal thing that kids do, right? Yeah, what we just did in like 30 seconds, by the way, that was like at least an hour of me banging my head against the wall as a kid. That puzzle.
Output.
Ready? Acuteness! Power! Fire! Now! It'll be over. No way! Barrier! No use! Serpent! Fire seal!
Two inferior beings?
I was just getting started.
Neither of the sages believed Lloyd. Boy, at the end of the day, Rain is a little Machiavellian. I had forgotten that aspect of her character. Do what it takes to survive, I guess. Consistent with what you would imagine someone like a half-elf would have to do to make it in a world such as this. I think that's a card for Sheena. Yes! One that's not locked behind an element, which will make it easier for some of these element-based skirmishes. We haven't been able to save. Maybe there's a memory glyph at the top. Well, sometimes you just gotta go in guns blazing. Nope, jokes! There are more puzzles to navigate before a boss fight. They got me. I was hopeful I would have a perfect run. Alright. Not too bad, though. Oh, but it's getting worse. Are you confused yet? Alright, so not that one. We want the other one. Oh, but it looped us right into that. Okay. I think we can see the Matrix now. Oh, that hurt. But it's gonna get us where we need to go. Paralysis. Yeah, so it didn't actually take health. That's almost more annoying to deal with. Thank God we stocked these Panacea bottles way back in the day. Our status effects have no place here. Oh man, puzzles on puzzles in this one. Although I guess that does make sense insofar as Rodyle is supposed to be, at least by his own account, the most cunning of the Grand Cardinals. So it's what you would expect from his range.
I'm tired.
You want that memory gem? Give me that memory gem.
It'll be over. No, that's it. Are you all ready? It'll be over.
There we go.
Photon.
We got it back.
Try this! Power infliction! No!
That's it. Barrier.
No use!
Serpent power field!
To inferior
Do not bother
beings?
us.
You can't change this one. Got it. We haven't done blue yet. It's like the magic tricks or scams where they like put a rock under one of 3 cups and mix it up, and they want you to keep track of it. Keep your eye on the Sheena. Don't lose track of where she goes. Nothing like getting equipment that beefs up the party you're already running.
Inferior beings? To inferior beings?
I was just getting started.
Okay. Did we check the other colors on this one? Does this go anywhere? No. Alright. I think we go up next. Yeah, did that.
Not much of a specimen.
No way! Serpent seal! Barrier! Fire seal!
So not all people after all. Rodyle does have some sea monsters in his employ out here in the ocean.
We won.
I guess if you're willing to turn people into monsters, it's not surprising you should have other sorts of monsters working with you. Love that mission accomplished sound.
You're in for a world... No! Ready? Acuteness!
Spear cannon!
Serpent! Fire seal!
Are you okay?
Fire seal! Beast! Gonna be kicked.
Can't remember the last time we were poisoned.
Are you okay?
Not even a contest.
Okay. Is there a blue one? Yes, okay. Then the way should be clear for us to go through that big old door.
It'll be over soon. Cuteness! Devastation!
To inferior beings?
Did you see my attack?
Oh yeah, baby. I was watching all right.
For some reason, I don't think that's what you were focusing on.
You're right, Sheena, because I'm gross. Alright. Onward. Oh, if I don't accidentally run into one of the teleporters on my way. Jesus Christ. Spat me out on the wrong side. Alright, third time's the charm. There we go. It's a slightly longer session tonight, but it's not as if I'm gonna leave us hanging and save the finishing of this base for the next stream, so let's see this through, and then we can call it a night. How about that?
Failed Chosen and her traveling band of fools are still alive. You're as stubborn as cockroaches.
You and Farley deceived me.
Presea, I'd have treated you so much better had you made me a crucius crystal in that little body of yours.
Die!
Now, settle down. Have a look at the projector. I've got a special underwater show for you.
That somehow makes him even more evil and despicable to me. And I'll never be able to unsee that. Thank you.
How could you do that?
Hedgehog, if Hedgehog were evil doctor scientist also.
They'll all be killed!
Damn you.
You bastard! Stop the water now!
It's too late! I know why you've come here. I'm sure you intend to shut down my mana cannon. But you won't succeed. I've filled the corridor leading to the mana cannon with seawater.
You're gonna kill all those people at the ranch just to stop us?
Who cares about the lives of pathetic, inferior beings? The mana cannon will be completed once I get the Crucius crystal. With Thor's hammer in my possession, Yggdrasil and Crucius will beg for my mercy. Even that eyesore of a tower will fall before my cannon.
What do you hope to accomplish by destroying the Tower of Salvation?
That's nothing you lower life forms need to concern yourselves with.
But I'd like to know.
The Crucius crystal is finally mine! Now, let's see. I think I'll test its power first by equipping it on myself.
Ugh.
Let's begin the research. Ready? Field barrier. Are you all ready?
I think this is a trope in JRPGs. It's certainly a trope within the Tales games. The idea of these men who crave more power and end up literally making themselves monstrous in pursuit of it. Like sort of like Dr. Frankenstein if he applied his work to himself rather than trying to create something that was a new life form.
Ready?
Pretty great in a medium where you literally have to battle and confront those monsters.
Ready for this? First aid!
On the way.
And the fact that after all of Rodyle's talking and scheming, yeah, Persona, right, exactly. The fact that now in the battle, when he's in this monstrous form, he's not voiced. Like, he doesn't even have the capacity to speak now. I think that's a nice touch. Totally forgot what I was doing. I wanted to use a different summon. Let's try Sylph.
Ready for this?
I call upon the heavenly messengers. I summon thee. Come, Sylph. Are you ready? Go, go, go! Ready? Spirit Barrier! Fire Seed!
Ready for this? First aid!
Fire Beast! No way! Are you okay? First aid!
First aid!
Devastation! Spirit Ready! Acuteness! Beast! Fire
It is crazy to me, though, that, like, a Grand Cardinal, someone who runs the designs and has every reason in the world to understand, like, how, again, monstrous these X-spheres are and how they can warp your mind and your being and make your body go out of control. Like, the fact that he would be so eager to equip it to himself before using it as a power source for something else is kind of... I don't know if it's meant to show that Rodyle is more stupid than he makes himself out to be, or if he just has more hubris, where he thinks like, yeah, the other people who are lesser than me, like they might not be able to control it, but I can because I'm smarter and I know how to take advantage of it. But it definitely makes his character seem a little more just fraught, even if only by virtue of the dissonant aspects of it.
Ready? Spirit Seal! Fire Seal!
I cannot get my time back.
Oh. And again, having that for a one-off battle response when Presea defeats Rodyle, who robbed her of so much, not just her time. Little touches like that really make this game a cut above for me.
What's happening? My body is disintegrating! You tricked me! But I won't die alone! I'm taking you all with me!
No! He's activated the self-destruct system.
Bota warned us not to destroy this place.
Damn it! We have to stop it!
Impossible. The only one among us who can handle this machinery is Rain.
Most Tethyolans don't really study the details of Magi technology very much.
Yeah, I'm still a neophyte to the Resident Evil series. I haven't really played any of the games, but I'll take your word for it. It certainly sounds consonant with a lot of the themes from those games, as I understand them. I was thinking the new, like, remastered or remade version of Resident Evil 4 would be a good opportunity to finally get on the bandwagon.
Professor!
I know, but I can't do this by myself.
We'll take over from here. The rest of you, go and escape through the hatch over there.
Bota, you're okay!
There'll be plenty of time for chit-chat later. Leave now. You'll only get in our way.
Okay. Oh no! We've got to open that door!
It's no use! Oh, it won't budge!
Makes me excited to play it, that's for sure.
Move!
Bota did this on purpose. They knew the water was coming and locked it from the inside.
Why would they do that?
If the door opens, this area will be flooded as well. And as you can see, the ceiling is covered by a dome. There's nowhere for the water to escape.
They did it to save us? No! We have to do something!
Damn it! Isn't there anything we can do?
We've stopped the self-destruct system.
Voda! Open the door! If we destroy the dome overhead...
Our goal was to modify each ranch's mana reactor in order to fire mana at the Great Seed. Now that we've finished reprogramming this control room, our mission's complete. We need you to get the message to Ewan that we have succeeded.
Tell him yourself! Open the door now!
We pray for your success in regenerating the world. Please see to it that Martell is finally allowed her eternal sleep. For Ewan's sake as well.
No!
Oh, man.
Man.
Stole my line.
Everyone, behind you!
What are those things?
They look like transport dragons. Their cages probably opened when the self-destruct system was activated.
Look out. Here they come.
Damn it!
This is gonna be cage.
We get to enjoy a back-to-back boss fight here. Without even time to be just emotionally devastated by one of the first intentional self-sacrifices for a virtuous reason that we've seen in the game. Besides, really, I think just Corinne so far? Yeah, I mean, Colette was willing to die when she thought it was the right reason, but not quite the same thing as I see it.
Ready? Field barrier!
Ready for this?
First aid! Help is on the way! Nurse! Serpent power field! Sonic strike ready! Acuteness!
Look, they just have too many moves. I think that's my problem with this enemy fight. And they all have very different AoEs, so it can be hard to manage them. Or I'm just a weenie.
Fire seal! Help is on the way! Nurse!
That was disappointing.
That was easier without the Mama Dragon around. And the further levels we have under our belt than it was last time.
There are too many of them.
Damn! They're tough!
If we lose, we'll never be able to pass on Boda's message.
Mythos!
What was that?
That bird we were looking for. Ha! No wonder we weren't able to get him before.
Summon spirit?
Gina's ring! Everybody!
That's Mythos' voice.
What's Mythos doing here?
Please, get on these reards!
Let's worry about the how and why later.
All right.
Mythos! It's really you! What was that attack just now? And how did you get a Reard?
I'm sorry. I was worried about all of you and I just couldn't stay behind. So I asked the renegades to let me borrow a Reard.
But what was that powerful attack?
That was actually... I don't know either. When I heard the flute, I tried my best to get inside. So I just started blasting the dome with fireballs. Then all of a sudden, a golden sparkling bird appeared and helped me. Golden sparkling bird. Could it be Aska?
It can't be. Why would a summon spirit?
Almost as if he knew to respond to that flute.
What do you mean?
Do you think Genus called Aska when he played the flute?
Mythos' flute? I wonder. We'll need to investigate the flute itself to find out the truth.
But shouldn't you all rest first? Let's head back to Palma Costa.
Harry Potter vibes? What? How so? What part of Harry Potter?
I must apologize to Neil. I left without
Oh, you
telling
mean
him.
like with Fox the Phoenix coming in to help Harry in what was that, book 2, The Chamber of Secrets?
Alright. It's not like we'll figure anything out by dwelling about it here. Let's head back.
I hadn't read the books or seen the movies in a long time, so I really had to pull that out of my cold storage memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say for what it's worth, and this is the long and the short of what I'll say in the subject. I think everything with Hogwarts Legacy especially is an interesting and like really unexpected opportunity that I thought would never come for like the popular consumption of media and just the ordinary consumer of that media to think a lot about death of the author and like what constitutes an author's persistent influence on his or her work. Because, I mean, if you know my work, you know I'm very death of the author in terms of thinking that like the meaning that we derive from stories and especially video games really has little to nothing to do with what the author intended or was trying to express with it. I just don't think that's how narrative structure works. And while that might seem really esoteric and philosophical, I think all the issues that J.K. Rowling presents and everything that fans have taken from the series Harry Potter is a really actually kind of interesting case in the wild of people feeling compelled to think about those death of the author mechanics and understand how it might be that they could make meaning out of a series that they so want to divorce from the author.
Thank you, Mythos. We owe you our lives. I didn't realize how amazing you are. Not at all. I'm so happy we're friends. Yes, me too.
Well, Genus couldn't make it work with Presea yet, but at least he's got a friend. That's a start. Yeah, that's true. And I mean, the more like political or prudential question of, you know, what, like, how are the right structures of those stories put in place such that an author does or doesn't benefit from it? I get that. But I also think, like, my own view would also challenge that to say, like, you know, take a step back and weigh, like, the monetary incentive or disincentive versus, like, the capacity for those works and stories, if they're reinterpreted and you might even say reclaimed by the fans who have taken such different things from them, like at scale, the impact that those works themselves could have might end up making a sufficient difference and positive change in the world in such a way that it might outweigh, you know, an author whom you wouldn't want to otherwise support continuing to benefit from it. Useful to summon Aska again, perhaps. Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, not that I've really taken a stand on it in my gaming either way. I mean, I haven't played it. I feel like I understand both sides of the debate. I also understand it's something that many people feel very strongly about, whereas I'm more interested in doing what I guess you might call drive-by philosophy about it. But I, totally understand that for many people it's a more directly impactful issue, and there's every reason in the world to respect that. Life is just a JRPG, man. Working through a long journey where it's easy to feel isolated and trying aggressively to remind everyone you care about that you're not as alone as you think you are. Ugh, these characters. Swear to God. Well, I mean, but Presea, we know what's wrong with you. I mean, you have been horribly warped and stunted by Rodyle and Barley and the experiments they forced you into, so I guess developing a sense of self in one's character on the back end of that is intimidating, to say the least. And Colette basically just summed up the ethos of the whole entire game. Just try to figure out what's best, and no matter how painful, do it. Weird thing to say. A lot of anticipation of betrayal in this stream, too. It's easy to be on brand when you have one character trait, Zelos. Alright, friends. Well, thank you for staying on a stream that went later than it was scheduled. I have a sneaking suspicion that as we get further wrapped into the story, it might be tempting on future nights to also extend things a little further just to get a sense of the overall unit of plot that we're working with and the themes that are being developed. But this was a lot of fun. It was just as great as I imagined it would be to get back to the stream and everything that we're doing in Tales of Praxis after the little hiatus for PAX East, so that was great. I hope you get a chance to check out the lecture that I gave if you haven't already and you're interested in Xenoblade or even just JRPGs more broadly. Like, as I was putting that lecture together, I felt like a lot of what I was working on... Yeah, thank you, Chrissy. I think a lot of that lecture has to do with just the structure of JRPGs and how they tell stories in general, so it might be interesting as well from that lens. And it's on PAX's official Twitch account, which I think is just PAX2, but also the link is on With the Terrible Fate social. We distributed it, I think, earlier today, so it should be easy to find if you want to. And we'll be back on a regular schedule now, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern for, let's say, at least 3 hours, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So see you back here on Wednesday. And yeah, if you have questions, want to talk more about the plot, want to talk more about the storytelling of games, want to talk about the article that I've published so far, the articles that I'm working on, shoot me a message on Twitter, come back and chat with me on the stream. Do anything in between. I love this stuff, and it's so nice to be able to do it in the company of my own little JRPG party on the stream. It's my first time doing a JRPG like this, but I think it'll definitely be fun to continue to do it in the future. So, cheers everyone, have a good one, and I will see you next time, alright?